Punjab Furniture has provided the following information. Gross debt in 2001, 2002 as well as the average is given. Cash and short-term securities are given. Net debt is given. Gross interest expense, interest income, whereas the net interest expense, that is the difference of the two, is calculated. Calculate Punjab Furniture's 2002 interest expense on average gross and average net debt and the yield on average cash balances. So the interest expense on average gross debt will be calculated as the gross interest expense divided by the average gross debt, that is 4,500. The interest expense on average net debt will be calculated as the net interest expense divided by the average net debt, that is 3250. The yield on cash balances can be calculated as 300 divided by the average cash balance or the average cash and short-term security, that is 1250. Which comes out to be 17.7%, 15.4% and 24%. So let's understand the effect of price inflation on gross profits, gross margins and operating margins. Michael Incorporated sells television components. The firm's income statement for the past 1 year is given below. So revenue is $400,000. Cost of goods sold is $120,000. The gross profit, SG&A and operating profit is given. In 2012, the input cost will increase by $10 per unit. So from 60, this will become $70 per unit. Calculate the gross margin and operating margin for Michael for 2011. Calculate the 2012 gross margin and operating margin, assuming that the entire increase in input cost is passed on to customers through an equal increase in selling price. The number of units sold is not affected. So for 2011, the gross margin is quite easy. It's 280 divided by 400, and the operating margin would be 200 divided by 400, and that is 50% and 70%. For 2012, option A says that the entire increase in input cost is passed on to customers to an equal increase in selling price. So the COGS became 70, the revenue also became 210. So the revenue in 2012 under option A will be $420,000. The COGS would be $140,000. The gross profit would be equal to $280,000. The gross margin now will be 280 divided by 420, and the operating profit will continue to remain $200,000. The operating margin, however, will become 200 divided by 420. So the operating margin comes down to 47.62% and the gross margin comes down to 66.67%. Even though absolute profits are the same, the sales have increased, bringing down the margins. Selling price is increased by 10% and the number of units sold decreases by 10%. So that's another thing that the company has to be careful about. If it raises the price too much, it may have an impact on demand. So in option B, the revenue would be 1800 multiplied by 220 because the price has been increased by 10% and the volumes decreased by 10%. That is $396,000. The cost of goods sold would be 1800 into 70, that is the new price. That is $126,000. The gross profit would be the difference of the two, that is $270,000. The SG&A will remain at 80,000, giving us an operating profit of $190,000. So raising the price by 10% doesn't seem to be a very good move. Even though margins may look okay or may not depress as much, but we see that the gross profit as well as the operating profit in absolute terms has come down. Similarly, we can do the calculation when number of units sold decreases by 40%, it will be an even more detrimental situation for the company. This was case A, 66.7 and 47.6. Case B, the margin is slightly better than case A, but in absolute terms, it is not better. Case C, again, the operating margin takes a further hit because volumes go down drastically.